Hello everyone. If you want to go to my free course, type henry-ward.co.uk into Google, then go to Henry Ward Trading, and then this here is my free course. Click on Start Today. If you want to go on to the webinars that I do every Sunday and every Wednesday, click on Trading Academy and then click on Start Today. So this is the Trading Academy. This is the full training, the webinars, direct access to me, everything that you want. Hello everyone, how are you? Today we're looking at the dollar index and what sort of setups is after happening on the dollar index. So we're in the dollar index from here, which is the 7th of December. We've had the phase one, we had a pullback, and then it seems to have gone again. Now at this particular point, we did have a pullback and there was entries on this depending on what type of trader you are. You have 1, 2, 3 bars going back. So this is a higher high, so there's the 3 bars going back. So this is a daily phase 2, which means then we could have jumped in this as a short on the daily chart if we had have wanted to. Now stop loss will be above that bar, entry will be below it, and then today you would be triggered in. If you want to have your 3 to 1 on this, it would be a little bit lower, it'd be off the chart there, and that's what we would sort of be looking at. Now we have had a couple of different things. We've had the US hike interest rates up. We've had Europe being very bullish and also interest rate hikes up, and then we've had the British government not so bullish, which means we've had a little bit of GBP weakness over the last couple of days. But overall, the sentiments across trading sectors says going into the new year, we expect euro to get stronger and we expect US dollar to continue with its weakness. So this here would work in hand with that particular thesis, and we will see little opportunities the likes of that. There's a trend line there, but whether I would have taken off the trend line, for me it was better off that horizontal level. Bounce once, bounced twice, came back and retested that. So that's where we've taken it, maybe taken it. But remember, this one is still running. We are looking for a 1.56 to 1 on this one. But if you think that US dollar is going to continue getting weaker, put your take profit as a 3 to 1 and let this run. So in this particular scenario, I wouldn't have got in here because we still have this existing trade running. Okay, so I wouldn't have put the second one, but anyone who missed that first one, there is a trade here. Is it an ideal bar? It's not a bad bar. It's not a bad situation to be in. Okay, it's not too big. We've had sort of 2 days of waiting, and all of a sudden the market has taken off. And that's the dollar index. So if we go over on to the likes of gold, it's pretty much similar. We got in here, went up to 2.38 to 1. We wanted out before that horizontal level there, but we could have actually had a 3 to 1 quite easily on this one. It went up to almost a 4 to 1 that high. And if you expect US dollar to continue getting weaker, you'd expect the gold to continue getting stronger. Now, was there an entry there? For me, no. For me, no, this is not a great area. There's a low, which is bounced off there, but look, it's now made a lower low. So it's not something that would jump out at me to trade. So for this reason, I wouldn't have taken gold. But silver, on the other hand, is a completely different story. So we are still in silver from here. So entry here, stop loss there. It's went up, pulled back. Now, again, as I talked on Sunday's webinar, we did have a long position on that. Now, some people took it, some people didn't. And again, do we have our take profit inside that level, or do we expect US dollar to continue getting weaker, which means then silver and gold will continue getting stronger, which means then there's your take profit. And if that's the case, then we just leave this run. So silver was a much better setup, seems to be bouncing sort of in the area of the trend line, come back to that horizontal level as well. We're also in this original trade here, so we're about, I would say, about 1 3/4% up on the original trade. Yeah, 1.6 on the original trade. There's our 3-to-1, and I sort of fully expect that to hit the 3-to-1. I don't see any reason why this won't hit that 3-to-1 there. If we go over onto the indices, we've had a real change on the likes of the indices. If we look at the Dow, so I'm going to start off with the Dow first. Now we talked about this Fibonacci, so we talked about the Fibonacci from there to there. So if this is an upward trend, if we think that this is going to continue going up, we have the sort of, so Fibonacci works, you start at the beginning, which is there, and you bring it up to the high of here. Now, Fibonacci has now changed because it's after making a higher high, so it's there. So that's now the high, not here anymore. So that's the high of that movement. So with that in mind now, if we have a look, I'll bring this across here so we can actually see. If we're looking at the likes of that level, look, the 38.2 is the first level of the Fibonacci, and look, we're sitting on it. It's also the level I wanted it to come back to. Okay, so we've a bounce there, to there. Okay, is that the greatest level in the world? No, it's not, but that's the first area where I'm looking at going, well, this is a potential area for buyers to jump in. So we're back at a 31.8. So I'm just gonna pull that back. I'm going to pull that over here out of the way so it doesn't take up all the information here. But all we're doing is we're bringing those lines across, basically. So that's the 38.2. It's come back to a horizontal level. Now, again, we're not looking at this bar because this bar hasn't even started. This is just a futures market at the moment, so it hasn't started yet. So it's not something that we're taking into much consideration. But if that bar finished like this, is that a first buy signal now to the upside again? Is that the phase 1, phase 2, and then not the phase 1 again? Is that what we're looking at? Or are we looking at this, we expect this to go the whole way down to this floor again, back down to 0, back down into this area where it's been before? And it may well be, it may well go. It absolutely, there's nothing stopping it getting back down to there. Will we make lower lows? There's a probability we will. Will we go much lower? I'm not so sure. But we could go down and make lower lows. But it depends on what your analysis on this, whether you expect the market to go short or whether you might expect the market to go long. But at this present moment, we have sort of a zone. So we have a top level and we have a sort of bottom level that we expect the market to bounce between. So this is a good area to be in. This is this level here. If this holds, this is exactly where we want the market. And then slowly, when the sentiment changes, then we get a nice bull run on this. But that's exactly what we want at the minute. If I pop over to the S&P, it's very similar. Again, we had the Fibonacci here, but I'm just going to move it up to the top of that bar, which is there. Okay, and with the Fibonacci, we've gone past the 38.2 level. If we have a look at there, this green line is the 38.2 level. The bar has bounced off of today. I'm going to bring it up and make it much bigger for you guys so you can all sort of see it. So there's the 38.2, that green level coming through here, and today's bar has come down, hit the floor, and then bounced back up. Now looking at today's bar, it tells me that there's probably more sellers in this market. Why? Because it's made a lower low. Yes, the buyers took over a little bit since then, but for me it still looks like there's more sellers in this market. So I'd expect a little more bullish to the downside. Now, again, is it going to come back down to this floor where it's been historically? Or are we getting a phase 1, phase 2, and then a phase 1 to the upside? That'll be something that we have to sort of keep an eye on. Now, and over to the Nasdaq. So the Nasdaq is a little bit different. Okay, now for me, I'm looking for some sort of pullback up to here. And if I get a pullback up to there, I am then looking to short our market down into about there. Okay, so that's a little bit different here. I'm looking for that to play out like this. Now, I'd love it to break there and continue going up and then retest that level. That would be the idea. That's where we want it to go. But at the present moment, we have phase one, phase two, phase one. I'm looking for the phase two, and I expect it to go down. But I would be out of the market by the time it hits these levels here. There's a lot of support at this buying power sitting on these levels. I would not be trading it into these levels. I would probably have my take profit somewhere around there, a good distance above where this is, because I don't want to get caught in any buying power. So look at the buying power on that particular day here. Look, hit that, boom, the whole way up to here. We could easily see the same type of buying power on either of those levels. And it's not something I want to get triggered into. I want to get caught with a sell trade when the buyers just completely take over on this market. So that's something just to be aware of if you're trading the short. So the German DAX, we were looking at this as a break and a retest, and it didn't actually happen. So we had the retest there. We also had that horizontal. So again, the horizontal has come back from this area here. We touched there, another one here, but again, it's quite a soft level. So we had entry above the bar, stop loss below it. Then yesterday we had an inside bar, and then today bar is not finished. We've had a low test. So that didn't trigger us in. So that trade is now either removed or updated to here when this bar finishes. We can't do it now. We have to wait for that bar to finish. Okay, just to reiterate, we cannot do that now. The bar has to finish before we can put that there. So at the present moment, I'm going to leave that there. So I don't want anyone putting that trade in till that is there. Now you could go down to the 4 hour and go, well, that level is the area I expected to bounce. You could have jumped in on, say, the 4 hour. So down there, look, we've had this sort of not quite a train track reversal bar, but we have had a bullish movement here. Would I get in on that? Probably not. I would have liked to have seen a doji or a low test bar there. And if I had got one of those, then would have potentially took that there. French CAC. So we're looking at the French CAC. French CAC for me is sort of just stay away from it. It's, look, with the gapping and stuff, we don't get triggered in the correct places, all that sort of stuff. So for me, just stay away from it. UK 100. Now I want the UK 100 to come down to this level before I'm looking to buy it. This is very no man's land at the minute. Yes, I have a little double bottom at this particular point, but for me, it's a very, very soft level. This horizontal is a much better one. So if it comes down to there, potentially looking at that as a trade. China has worked out really well for us. So China trade is, we were looking at this, look, we had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 touches on this. It went up, double topped. Now the thing with this is it didn't play ball with us. So the trade was here, didn't trigger us in, didn't trigger us in, didn't trigger us in, didn't trigger us in, didn't trigger, didn't trigger, didn't trigger, didn't trigger, and then today triggers. So that trade was there 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days, and now it triggers today. So it's triggered in quite nicely today at the moment. We are 0.6% up. Now our take profit is somewhere around there, but I would be trailing my stop loss behind this because look, if this goes, there is potential for this to run the whole way back down into that area down there, which is a 13 to 1. So don't be afraid to trail a stop loss underneath this. Yes, this level has been respected massively, but it just got broken there. I got broken there, and then I got broken there. So yes, we have two really good levels at that particular point, but it also been massively broken as well. Aussie 200, again, it broke that level, so no trade to the upside. On a break and retest now, and then we'll look to short it. Japan 225, again, had a really nice break to the downside. So I'm looking for this to retrace back up to there, and then we'll look at a short again, or potentially come down to here and a potential buy. Look, 1, 2, 3. If it comes down here, I'd expect a pretty decent amount of buyers or orders sitting on that level for this to pop to the upside. Oil, I know some of you guys were looking at this short. Hasn't played out as we wanted it. So with 1, 2, 3 touches, it's come back into this area again. So this reversal bar, entry below it, stop loss above it, pop down, almost a 1-to-1, and it's popped back up. So at this present moment, we're slightly down. So if we risked 100 quid there, you're probably down about 20. So just be careful with this one. Don't be afraid to close your trade early if you think that this has more momentum to the upside. We are looking at it hitting, say, the $60 down in this level down here, with the sanctions on Russian oil, paying $60 for Russian oil. So it'll be interesting to see, will the market actually come back down to that level, or will it stay slightly above it? Natural gas, for me, absolutely stay away from it. Nothing happened at the minute. It has to get down to this level before we're potentially looking to buy it. We've had some really nice trades on us as of late, so it is very respectful of these levels. And when it comes down to them, I'd expect some sort of bounce. Wheat, again, stay away from it. It's not, I need to come back into these areas. It did touch there, it did reject, but it's too hard to predict this at the minute. Platinum. So platinum here went up, hit our 1-to-1. So well done, anyone that took that. Went up, hit our 1-to-1. We then wanted it to break, but it hasn't. It has sort of come back down. And again, it has to sort of hit this area here for us to be interested in it. But the problem with this is there's no massive trend on the likes of this. There's no huge trends on these. So we are looking off horizontal support and resistance to be taking them. Copper, again, look, it's come down here, but am I jumping out of my skin to take copper at this particular point? No, not at all. Palladium actually broke this level, so we did have a really good level. It's broken it, so now we're looking for it to retest. And if a retest, then we're looking for it as a short. So if that retest, then we're looking for this to pop down to the downside. And that's what we'll be looking for if it pops up and hit its head. Because this is a pretty decent level on palladium. So pop back up and then look to short. Sugar. So we had a really nice short here in sugar. We're looking at this as a potential double top. Look at the size of the bar. Absolutely not. Anyone who put a limit order on this may or may not be triggered in and triggered out very, very quickly. But again, if you'd have put, there's no way we would have got in on this because there was no trade as a buy stop. But a limit order, you would have been triggered in and triggered out quite quickly. Coca, again, nothing doing. We needed to come back down here before I'm looking at it into that area there. And then lastly but not least, the evergreen dying cotton. We're in this trade from 17th of November. Okay, so we're in this trade a month, and it hasn't hit our stop loss, hasn't hit our take profit. It's just dying this slow death. Now, for me, I'd be out of this trade a long time ago. Would have taken my 1-to-1 out of it and just let it. And and just walk away. But let's see how it plays out. It may go in our favor, it may not. But the more sideways it gets, the less chance of it dropping, the more chance of it turning to the upside. Okay, everyone, it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you very much for joining in and watching the market update. Hope you all have a lovely Christmas, and this will be last one before Christmas, so I'll see you all next Tuesday. Bye bye.